We're continuing the HASSARA Siman Ayin. We're doing Sif Aleph through Sif Daled. So long we spoke about the salting process, and now we're going to speak about when you're salting. If you're salting a bunch of pieces of meat together, what the halacha is. Sif Aleph says, you're allowed to salt a bunch of pieces one on top of the next. Even though the bottom one is finished giving out its dam before the top one. So we already have a problem here, because then the dam on the top one is coming out and is going into the bottom one. So what do you do? So the truth is, we should really see start off seeing the Prima Gadim, that there's a bunch of reasons why we're not worried about the dam on the top one going into the dam of the bottom one. So we look in the Prima Gadim, the Mishpat says Zohar. Prima Gadim, the Mishpat says Zohar, Aleph. It says Da. Right in the beginning. Da. The Mash Anu Molchen Habe Chaticha Zeh Al Zeh. Just that we sold a bunch of pieces of meat one on top of the next. And we're not worried about the fact that the bottom one is going to absorb the dam from the top one. There's a bunch of reasons said why we're not worried about this. There brings 4 different reasons why we're not worried about the dam of the top one going into the dam of the bottom one. Aleph, as far as the tam, the dam mishrik. Dam slides off. When you salt something, what happens is the dam that comes out of it doesn't absorb into the piece of meat under it. It just slides off the piece of meat. Dam mishrik shar. So in that case, it wouldn't make a difference if the bottom piece of meat is being salted or not being salted. The bottom piece of meat never absorbs the dam from the top piece of meat. That's the first reason. The second reason, Beis, Mushitis Yesh Mefarshim, the Chosman Shepaletas Sir, Paletas Dam Chaber Gamkein. The second reason is that as long as it's being poiled, when you salt a piece of meat, in the beginning it gives off its dam. After that, even though it's not pushing out its dam, the salt is pushing out the sear of the piece of meat. And we'll see later on in the Siman, in Sivav, for how long is the salt pushing out the sear of the piece of meat. 12 hours, 24 hours, we'll see later on. But definitely, even after the shear that the dam came out of the piece of meat, it's giving out its sear. So as long as it's giving out its sear, it is, even though it is balaya from the top piece of meat, it still can give out a dam from the top piece of meat. So according to the second reason, it is balaya the dam from the top piece of meat, but it's giving it out because as long as it's giving out sear, it gives out the dam from the top piece of meat. Hagimel, as far as the reader leans, Shekiven, Shetachtoina, Psucha, Liflay Dam, Shalatzma, Palatas Masha Bolam Al Yena, Af La'acha Shekhala Playtis Atachtoina, Shein Badam, Shalatzma, Kiven, Delainistimu Rega Acha, Echas, Nikvea Playta. So the reader leans is similar to the Yesh Mefarshim that we just had before, but he holds that it's not totally if it's being part of the tzir. The River Orleans holds, as long as you're not seisim nikfei plata, which we had before, if you salt a piece of meat and you don't wash it off, to hold that the nikfei plata, the hole that's giving out the dam, stay open until you wash it off. So the River Orleans is going to hold, it's balaya the dam from the top piece of meat, but it could still give it out as long as it didn't wash it off, and that could be more than 24 hours even. So the difference between the second teretz and the third teretz is if you have to wait, if you could wait even longer, as long as you didn't wash it off. Hadalet Kozman Shetru the Liflight Sir the Bola Klal Melyena. As long as it's being torrid and giving out its sear, it will not be balaya down from the top piece of meat at all. So here, the main thing we have to know is a lot of differences between the four terutzim. Pirgadim continues to give a bunch of differences. I'm going to just pick out one difference I think is the main difference we have to have. The main difference is the bottom piece of meat, is it balaya the dam from the top piece of meat and it gives it out, was not Balea it at all. According to the first teretz and the fourth teretz, it's not Balea the dam at all. Either because the first teretz holds dam mishuk sharik, it's something to do with the dam itself, and according to the fourth teretz, it has to do with the piece of meat. That the piece of meat, as long as it's giving out its dam, it's not Balea dam from the other piece of meat. Those are the first and the fourth teretz. The two middle teretz in the Yeshma Farshim and the Rimolins both hold it is Balea the dam, but it has the koyach to give out the dam as long as it's either being piloted its tzir, or as long as it wasn't washed off and the Lichtenstein plate are still open. So that's the main difference we're going to go with. The main afkamina. The afkamina is, if you put a piece of meat on top of another piece of meat, the bottom piece of meat is in there for already a half hour, let's say, then you put another piece of meat on top of it, you cannot take out the bottom piece of meat right away. Because what happens is, it's Balea dam on top of the meat, and you have to give it time to let it out, to spit out the dam. So you have to wait now, a shir melicha. Once you put a piece of meat that has dam in it, on top of a piece of meat, even though it's already salted, and it gave out its dam, you can't just pull away the bottom piece of meat. You have to wait till the bottom piece of meat is a shir melicha after you put the top piece of meat on top of it. Because it's Balea dam. It has to come out. For that you need shir melicha. That'll be the big nafkamina between the four reasons. If you skip it to Prima Garden, it's also important to see. Later on he says, Oyed avar lecha. I'm not sure where it is in the new one, but in the old one is the next paragraph. Oyed avar lecha. Ki rashba ba'orach, ein alf am alaf am kotze by shlishi, shar shlishi maybe I'm not sure the shem miktas or voiceof, tafilu, bosar shapolat kol domway. Here's already a fifth thing. Even a piece of meat that was poiled kol domway, it's finished being poiled down. And it also, let's say it was nishmas menikvei Playtime. It's all done. V'tziroi, shenimlach im bosar sheyesh by dam. Then you took a basa that has dam in it and you salted it together with it. So what happens is, if you know like the first teretz, dam mishuk sharik, so it's not a problem at all. The other three terutzim, you have a problem because it's Balea the dam and it's not spitting it out because it's already finished the tzir or it's listed on Lichtenstein Playtime. You can salt it a second time. The af dam alma nami poilet. So the Rashba is another sheet that holds, even after you finish salting the piece of meat, it's a few days later, it's nistan Lichtenstein Playtime. If it absorbs dam from another piece of meat, that's called dam Playtime. And if you re-salt the piece of meat, it'll give out its dam. And this Rashba we're going to need for later on the Simon and Shipei and Sivav. Just keep this Rashba in mind. So now, let's go back to the Mechaber. The Mechaber says, Molchen habe chaticha zu agav zu af misha tachtoinu gemeres pletasa koidem l'alyoina lo imrina shechazeres balas yidam ha'alyoina. We don't say that it's balas from the top one. So right away, you see what's Mechaber holding? We don't say that it's Balea b'chlal. Right? It's not Balea b'chlal. Fishu shoya harbe liflei tzir v'chol zman shebelet asira eina balas. It's not Balea b'chlal. So the Mechaber right away holds that as long as it's being part of the tzir, it's not Balea. Also, according to the Mechaber, you can take away the bottom piece of meat right away. You have to wait 18 minutes. Even though you have a lot of tzir in the guma, in the holes of the chatichas, between the chatichas make a difference. Why? Because the bottom piece of meat will not absorb the dam at all. Mutter, it's mutter. The medvar murim, the malech, basar. Okay, fine, it's mutter. 1 second, let's stop here a second.
How do you know that he's not holding like Rabbi Sam, but it makes sure reason?
It could be.
It could be, yeah.
We don't know what the reason is. All they're saying here is that it's not Balea. It could be any of the two reasons. It could be any of the two reasons.
The other is okay because it's the same thing.
If you look at the Taz here, the Taz Sivkan Aleph, Shapalat Sira Eina Balas, Kenya Lechat Teruta B'Taisu, maybe we say Sivkan, Al Shesh Oitir Sham, the Spiro and Shafa Balea. Desh Lahete Sheyakzu Yiflutenu, Sheyaflut Hatzir Shaboy. Right? So Taz Writer points out that the Mechaber is going with the Shita, it's not Beleya B'chlal, but there are other Shitas that hold that it is Beleya, but it's Perla to them. And what will be enough minute if you have to wait now, Shir Melicha. And it says, V'chein mashma with the Chasvir and Moa Sivov, Sheyachzav Yim Lechenu, Mashma D'Akaponim Bola Kvar. The Taz Medai from the Ramon Sivov, the Ramon Sivov says a Lashon, they have to wait, Sheyachzav Yim Lechenu, it has to, you have to slaughter the get to get out its dam. So you see that it is Beleya Dam, B'Shas, it's part of the tzir.
Isn't it mashma from the Lashon of Mechaber that he doesn't hold like that second reason of the Taz? Because he says, Eina Bolas.
Right. That's what he said. That's what Taz starts off.
Right.
He's back from the Ramah. The Ramah argues. The Ramah argues and holds that it is Beleya. And we'll see later on there's a shach.
It's not clear though.
It's not clear in the Ramah, maybe we'll see as we get later on, because the shach later on says,
I need Tarid.
yeah, the shach himself learns in the Ramah later on that it's the reason is because I did Tarid the Miflet, Loi Bola. So we'll have to leave it in the Ramah. We'll see next week and see if Vav, exactly what the Ramah holds. But you see the Taz says the Mechaber definitely holds that it's not Beleya B'chlal, and the Ramah could be holds it is Beleya, so you have to wait Shem Melicha. In Basar, when you're salting meat and meat, I fill the Basar Shara, Basar Gediyim, V'Teloyim, I fill them Oifis, which is much smaller pieces of meat. Why is this halacha this way? It's pilot that's seared for a long time. As long as it's pilot is seared, then it's not Beleya according to the Mechaber. The Ramah says, still a machmer if it has a base kibble on top of it, the dam is sitting there. We turn it over during the salting process. We turn over the piece of meat that the dam, which is puddled on top of the piece of meat, should come off. But the everyday lachos, you have to worry about it because we say either it's not Beleya, or even if it's Beleya, it spits it out. Chaticha shemalach is a base b'amam muteres. Says the Ramah that if he salted a piece of meat twice without doing hadacha achrayna, then we're not worried that the dam is flying around from the first melicha is going to after the piece of meat. Now we had already in Simon Samach Tes, if you salted a piece of meat without hadacha rishayna, we worry about dam ba'en. Here we're not worried about the dam from the first melicha. Why? Says the Shach Sifkan Gimel. Melech Hasheni Mavli Adam. Vada Svina Bereshim Samachtes Botos and Nimlach Paloi Adoka Kamaisa. Vitam Shemelech Mavli Adam Sheolav. Shani Hasam the Ikar Dam Be'en. That's called Dam Be'en. Any dam that comes out from the Melicha Rishayna is not called Dam Be'en. That's called Dam Plata. So even if it's going to go back into the piece of meat, it comes out. So that's already called dam plata. Any dam that's pulled out through melicha, right away gets a shem dam plata. That's what the Shach says.
And in the case of Ma'aseh the Rashi, we're saying that that's something else?
Ma'aseh the Rashi, what about the dam, which is in the salt, it's going to go back in, but has to come back out. But Ma'aseh the Rashi goes and you resalt, it'll be okay maybe. Right? The problem is that salt that comes out afterwards, and you're going to clean it. You can cook it with that dam that comes out, that dam that's on the salt. You're going to cook it with that dam. That dam is going back.
That blood that comes out in the case of the
Ma'aseh the Rashi,
yeah,
that's dam plata.
That's dam plata.
That's dam plata.
So the have the same thing. You shouldn't worry.
Yeah, but they were talking about it sitting in tzir.
Something that we do worry.
Because they were sitting in tzir. We'll see in a second. Someone speaks it out over here. Yeah, but there, the chorus of a molcha is not a problem. We'll see in a second. Okay, the Taz says speaks about the Ma'aser Rashi, no?
Yeah. Actually, it's later on. It's the Shach and Chok Dalet.
So when they say the difference is that the Ma'aser Rashi is sitting in the water.
Right.
It's sitting in the tzir, so that's different.
That's in Chok Dalet.
Yeah, so then it goes back in, it can't get it back out. But if it's resalted and it didn't sit in the mohol, then it's not a problem. That's the chiluk between here and Ma'aser Rashi. So that is in Shach Sif Koten Yud Aleph. Yeah, Aleph? Yeah. Shach Sif Koten Yud Aleph. We'll get to that soon. Yeah, we'll get to that soon. It's Shach Sif Koten Yud Aleph. Ma'aser Rashi. Ma'aser Rashi is sitting in the mohol and it goes back in a way they can't get it back out. That's the case of Ma'aser Rashi. Here, the dam that's in the salt, even though it's going back in, the resalting it takes it out. The Ma'aser Rashi, not resalting it a second time, it's sitting in the mohol. So then we say it goes back in and it's asa. If you take that piece of meat with the salt on it, right, that's full of dam, and you cook it, everyone agrees it's asa. Right? We had that before in some Samach Tes. If you cook it, everyone agrees it's asa. The Ma'aser Rashi, the question is that after you finish salting it, is there still any dam left? Or not? The question is that whatever's coming out now is still dam. But here, you're not cooking it again, you're resalting it. Resalting it is okay. Right? Dam plate goes in and comes back out, it's not a problem. By cooking it, you don't say that dam plate comes in and goes back out. Dam plate will asa, because it goes in and it stays in through cooking. Only through salting it goes in and comes out. So that's what the Ramah says. We're not choishish that the second time you're salting it is in Mevli Hadam. This is all two pieces of meat, or meat and chicken. Avabos and dogim. If you have meat and fish, hafil basar oifis and dogim, osel and loyach, visha dogim poltim kol tziram koidim shnifla to oif as damoy. So loch is if you have a piece of meat and fish lying on top of each other. The meat on top of the fish, then we say a dam, what's coming out of the meat isn't going to the fish, and the fish is piled at sear right away, and therefore the dam will absorb into the fish. So here you have to go to all four reasons.
There's no problem with the fish going into, there's nothing in the fish, right? I just want to be clear.
What do you mean the fish?
There's no fish blood that we're worried about.
No, fish blood is mutter, yeah.
Right, so there's never going to be a
Right. There's no problem with the fish going into the piece of meat, correct.
So it's only the...
It's only the meat going into the fish. However, if you have a went ahead and you salt them together, the chickens are mutter, because what are you worried about? Nothing to worry about. But the fish, you have to take off the klipa. Why? Because the dam that's being from the meat that's being salted only goes into the fish k'dei klipa. Malicha only asks k'dei klipa. And the reason is because it's not a davar shamin. It's davar kachosh. We'll see there more in a second. He's going to argue, and he's going to say you need shishim. Because the Ramah says that we're not mafking between kachosh and shamin. So salt goes in shishim. Only kachosh only goes to the klipa. Ve'im lo nitlu kaskoseihem. He didn't take off the scales. Kshenimlechu mutarin. Why? Pashas, the reason is because the scales themselves are the k'dei klipa. So it may go in k'dei klipa. So the scales are the k'dei klipa. You take off the scales and the rest of the piece of fish is mutar. Says the Ramah, some people ask the whole fish, which is because we don't know, we're not mafking between kachosh and shamein. The other mishayim and melicha v'samach or melicha we need 60. No, and that's the minig. The Ramah says that's where we know it. V'dafnid lesbu kaskasim, only if there's no kaskasim, the rofu karmayu upol tu miyad. So now the Ramah says even though I hold you have to have shishim, that's only if the kaskasim are off, you need 60. Why? Because then it's very soft, a piece of fish, and the tzir and everything comes out right away, and if it's lay up the dam from the chicken right away. But if the kaskasim are on it, our isbu kaskasim mutarim the einan poltin miyad. They're not pilot its dam right away. But they bolim in the office. The ID the 3D lift light loy boli midi the loy boli midi the hava shnei chaticha shnim l'chuyachat. Says the Ramah, even though machmi you have to have 60 connected, but every melicha you have to have shishim. Here, if the kaskasim are on it, you don't need shishim. Why? Because it's not pilot, it's tzir so quickly. It takes time.
So if it can't pull it, then you cannot swallow it.
Right, so therefore it stays like a regular 2 pieces of meat. They salt them together. When you want asa, the bottom piece of meat.
So it comes out that with kaskasim, the Chab and the Ramah agree.
They don't agree totally.
Why? Because the kaskasim themselves?
The kaskasim, the Ramah says...
The klipa is the kaskasim, so you have to remove them before you can
right.
fish, I guess. But the Ramah would say maybe even the kaskasim also you could have. Because it's like 2 pieces of meat.
Right. So you won't even need a klipa.
Won't even need a klipa.
Right.
Yeah.
With the Ramah.
Yeah, and a Harav. But there will be one difference. We'll see in the Shach. Look in the Shach Dalit first of all. The Shach Dalit says, if you sort them together, the oifus are mutarim, but the dog will serve little mehem k'dei klipa, right? So he says, Bein shem molchem yachad zeh etzel zeh, bein shem molchem oifus ala dogim. Even if you salted the oifus on top of the dogim, bein shem molchem dogim ala oifus. Or if you had the fish on top of the chicken. Now if you had the fish on top of the chicken, why should the fish be asur k'dei klipa? La'olam shayach lemed ha-dogim asurim k'dei klipa, v'oifus mutarim. Why the afagaf dam enim v'fafei l'mayla, even though dam doesn't go upwards, from Shkosav without the sieve base, dam never travels upwards. V'kamokam klipa boy, you have to have a klipa. That means what's the problem here? You have chicken and fish on bottom. Sorry, fish on top and chicken on bottom. How does the dam from the chicken go up into the fish? Doesn't go up. Dam doesn't travel upwards, so the fish will be mut the gamri. Says the Shach, no. We say that the chicken, the dam of the chicken goes up k'dei klipa. Dam does travel upwards k'dei klipa, and it brings a raya. Which is bar shavach, which chatzor v'chaber asim v'sim samach tesim ches. The masha chutz l'tzir. If you have a piece of meat that's lying in tzir, we said the top of the piece of meat is mutter, the bottom piece of meat is asur. Why is it asur? Because the dam goes out and comes back into the piece of meat. Because it's a klicha enim menukiv.
No, we say what is in the tzir is asur,
right?
And over the tzir
and over the tzir you need a k'dei klipa also. Why do you need a k'dei klipa over the tzir? Says the Ramah, says the Shach, it's a raya. The dam does go upwards k'dei klipa. The masha chutz the tzir choyte k'dei klipa. So you see from over there that it travels upwards. It's k'dai another Prim Godim here speaks out.
So someone doesn't understand the principle. We started with the question was blood doesn't go up,
right?
And what are we answering now? That
the klipa does go up.
That it goes up
a little bit.
And
a little bit.
So the question was, the principle was wrong.
The principle is right. Dam doesn't go. You never need shishim. Doesn't travel up all the way.
Blood will never go shishim.
Right. Never travel.
Here is that blood can go up klipa.
K'dei klipa.
Like the place of contact, they can, there's a little bit of fuzziness there.
Right. Kasha was that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So we had it already in Simon Samach Test. If you have a piece of meat in the tzir, you also even k'dei klipa.
But he said somewhere that we go up a little bit klipa because we don't know exactly where to cut.
Who said that? Who said that?
I read it somewhere in the
yeah, we'll get there in a second. You read the notes. We'll get there in a second. If you look in in Samach Tes Yud Ches, it says Ein Asa Men Ela K'dei Klipa. We only Asa what's a Chus L'Tzir K'dei Klipa. So the Shach learns the reason why you need K'dei Klipa is because it goes up. K'dei Klipa does go up. The Minchas Yaakov argues, and he says the Pshat over there in Siman Samach Tes, Sif Yud Ches, why we Asa K'dei Klipa is not because it travels upwards. You have a piece of meat that's sitting in the tzir, you never know exactly where it is, if or something exactly how much is in the tzir. So therefore we ask if they klipa, cut a little higher than the tzir, therefore we know we're safe. That's what the Minchas Yaakov says, the Prim Godim over here brings it down. on the Pirgadim and Sifsa Das, Sifkat and Dalid. Read out the Minchas Yaakov. And he says, Minchas Yaakov, Cloud, Chaf, Oitzchav, Beis, Chal Gimel, and Nich, B'tzarchiyim, De'efsha b'chod chaticha boy klipo, v'loy b'beis chatichos. And the reason is because Minchas Yaakov holds that the reason why you need Kadei Klipa before is because the Efshel Tzamtzum, we don't know exactly where to cut it. So we ask for Kadei Klipa. Over here, we have two pieces of meat. When you have two pieces of that meat, one's fish and one's meat, what's the Efshel Tzamtzum? What's the Shaila? That the fish on the top of the meat, and then what? You don't know where to separate them? Yeah, the chicken and the meat, two separate pieces. We never say it travels upwards down. Over there we said we don't know exactly where to cut it. But if it's two pieces, there's no problem. So the Minchas Yaakov argues on this shach. And he holds that when it says in the Mechaber, Ha'ifis mutarim, Avodot Tzachdidan Klipa, is only talking about when the oifis are on top and the dogim are on bottom. Because if the oifis are on the bottom and the dogim are on top, the Minchas Yaakov holds will never go up at all. So nothing to worry about. That's the machlokes between Minchas Yaakov and the Shach. We'll have it again later on. Sif Beis. That's one thing. And the second thing you have to know is Sif Cotton Hay. The Shach says, if you didn't take the kaskasim, then it's mutter. Let's say Shach and Tzach Sif Cotton Hay. Fisha kaskasim have a mokam klipa. Chemuchik batur ayin sham agam rav nira pasha the moida. Shach kaskasim have mokam klipa. Now the Hutzuchel Tam the Rafal Kamayu. Why does the Ramon need the reason of Rafal Kamayu? The Mai that Svina Dogim Samach. The fact that he asks the Dogim Samach, he needs that reason to say that here you don't need Samach because of the Kaskasim will keep the dam inside longer as long as the Oifos are part of the dam. And he says the Bien Afkamina. The whole heter over here is that the dam doesn't go in. Why not? Because the oifos are still spitting out their dam. Why? Because the kaskasim are there and they keep it in. So therefore it's still being part of its dam. How about the top thing has a different issue? It's treifus on top of the piece of meat, a fish. And there you won't say that it doesn't go in. Asa Shishim or Asa Shishim. The whole reason that we're saying is, what do we have to remember? All these reasons that we're saying, that while it's being part of the dam, it's not Balei dam, or it's Balei that spits it out, that's only been a dam. Any other issue we won't say that on. If you have treifus on top of a piece of meat that was salted, we'll see in Sif Beis, Sif Gimel, that treifus goes in. If it's Issa that's going into a piece of meat, Issa would go in, even though it's being piled its dam. Because that's not a heter for other Yisurim. So this that the Ramah says over here, that since it has a kaskasim, it's pilot, the piece of fish is mutter, only chishim kenegdoi, is only because it's a din dam. If you have a different Issa, it would go in chishim, and the would asa. So that's what he's saying over. Why? Because the kaskasim is Kadei Klipa. Fine. And the Shach brings an afkamina because we hold they always need shishim anyway, even though it's kochos and shamein. So the Shach says at the end, I will see in SEMICHA Hey, that something that's kochos legamri by Michel will be Michel. In Kufay, I think it's Siftes. There's a longer more there, complicated. The more comes down, it says over there that by Michel, even though when I'm after with the Kochos and Shamein, but something that's Kochos Legamri, for example, it says Chometz and Pesach, which is definitely Kochos, on that we won't say that it's initiation.
This principle of identity that anything else will go through. Right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about, so where does the tear fit into this? Tear fits into that also?
See, it depends what it is.
So
if it's a dam.
Tear from a treifa.
We'll go in.
So we'll go in.
Yeah, tear from a treifa will go in.
That's the reason that tear, and tear from a kosher tefillah.
If it's dam, if you worry about dam, so we're not worried.
Dam wouldn't go in.
Dam wouldn't go in.
So dam wouldn't go in, so okay.
Only dam. Everything else, every other issue goes in. Okay, seed base.
Right.
Trade so it's protected, it's all it's not.
So you don't have
Only
those things
protected.
first.
Right. It's only protected. Right. Those four stars don't help you on trade.
So,
Right?
but
The four stars don't help you
The treif is right.
on none of them.
None of them.
on treif, even treif blood.
No, treif, but maybe
The
yeah.
next sheet, when you're going to get to the when you're trading,
Yeah.
there's
You'll see.
and trade.
Yeah, well, see,
And all of a sudden it's
it's Sif Gimel.
Right. Okay.
It's Sif Gimel. Anytime you're salting treif and
So this
yeah.
is only, in time the Ishmael portion is only by kosher.
Right. It's true if you have treif and dam, it will be the same thing. But treif is always worried about anyway. Tzir. If you sold something treif, right, a piece of meat that's treif. So let's just say the treif and dam won't go in, but the sear also that goes in.
Right. So that's the next sheet. Okay, we'll see it in a minute.
Sear is a problem. Sear of treif is a problem. Sear and Sif Gimel. Okay, Sif Beis. Medvar Murim Kshamolach Shneim Yachad. When you salt both of them together, I shall eif Muliach with dark toffel. So the chicken is salty and the piece of fish is unsalted. Toffel is unsalted. Avalim dag Muliach. If the piece of fish is salted, v'oif toffel, and the fish and the chicken is not salted, v'nostam zeh esel zeh or zeh agav zeh, av dogim utarim b'lei klipa. Even the dog, even without a klipa. Why? What are you worried about? The chicken? The chicken is not giving anything off.
Right. It's not salted.
It's not salted. It's not giving anything off.
And anyway, if it gets it absorbed in the chicken, when you do the melicha to the chicken, it will come out. Everything will come out.
Yeah, but the chicken anyway is mutter.
Yeah.
The fish doesn't ask for the chicken anyway.
Okay.
So it's only if the chicken is salted. But if the chicken is, and we don't care about the fish, if the fish whether it's salted or not doesn't make a difference. But if the fish is salted, the chicken is not salted, halacha is that the the fish is mutter, because nothing's coming out of the chicken. Now, if you look in the shach sifkat nevav, the dag toffel, the fish is unsalted, then it is awesome. Says the shach, with the sasim dvarav mashma, so toffel shaloi nimlach adayim, vafil hachi awesome. So this is not going to be like the Rama. See, the Rama argues in this halacha, but from the mechaber it's mashma that if the piece of fish was never salted, and then you salted a piece of chicken with it, and the dam of the chicken went into the piece of fish, so then later on, when I resalt the fish, it's giving out its dam, it should give it the dam of the chicken also.
You're not resalting, you're salting with it.
Salting the first time, sorry.
Yeah.
You're salting it, so it should give it the dam of the chicken also.
Piggyback.
Yeah. Now, the halacha is,
Something has never been salted, then.
the halacha is the meshach is a die from the mechaber. The mechaber doesn't hold that way. The mechaber says if dog toffel, the piece of fish is not salted, I don't care if it was salted and it's washed off, or it was never salted, it's still also a piece of fish. Why?
Even after you salt it again?
Even after you salt it again.
According to
According to the mechaber.
Or salted for the first
You
time.
see, the Rama argues. Yeah, if you look at it, that's what the Shach says. Midas sasim dvarav mashma shu toffel shu loy nimlach adayin. It wasn't salted yet. Vafil hachi asir v'lemehanele melicha achakach. Melicha will not work afterwards. V'chem asher b'seisif. So,
why?
and he says the reason is, we'll read quickly until we get to it. Harav, there's Chadz Kalkoft in the Dal Datum, because Mashal came as a tour. The dog of the Mahana Melicha learned the item to Michel Dam the two. Yifle Dam Adachrini. Kedamin Gavach Bekamas Zeh. Why? The Shani Dogim, keeping the Raful Karmayu, Bali Tuva, the Balaya a lot of Dam, Vadam Habolahem Alma Nitzrach Behem B'Yechiel. The reason why a piece of chicken that's belayed down from another piece of chicken, after if you salt it after this, gives that its dam and the dam it got in from the other piece of chicken, it's mutter, because it doesn't stick to it as much. Masha ein kain when you're salting a piece of chicken on a piece of fish, the fish, it is Rafa Kamayu, it absorbs a lot of the dam from the chicken, and it's nisrach to it. It sticks to it so hard that you can't get it out.
Would the scales make a difference in that case?
Will the scales make a difference?
It's not soft anymore.
That's a good question. Because the whole Rafa Kamayu is without the scales. Maybe you're right. Maybe if it has scales in it,
then it should
right.
absorb as
It's
much.
not called Rafa Kamayu. Maybe you're right. The fair should be that way.
Nisrach is absorbed in or dissolved in?
No, this one with sticks.
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 This sircha is lots of sticking.
That's right.
So that's what the Mechaber holds. We'll see when we get to the Taz under the Ma. The Ma argues in this. He gives another 3 reasons why dogma are different. We'll get to that soon. But for the Mechaber, the Shach is Medayik. The Mechaber is going to hold if you salt a piece of chicken on a piece of fish that's not salted, even if the piece of fish was never salted, and you salt it later on, it's awesome. Will not give out its dam afterwards.
So this is an example where we actually paskin like the Mechaber as opposed to the Ramah. Ramah would be Mekel, and he would say it would be okay, right?
Who said we pass like the Mechaber?
Sheet.
Well, let's get soon. Let's get pass like the Mechaber. We'll see the Ramah soon. We'll see soon. The Ramah argues. We'll see how we pass it. So the Ramah argues. The Ramah says that if you resalt a piece of fish, if you want me to skip right to the Ramah now, I don't mind skipping a little bit. We'll get back to the Ramah. If you look at the Ramah at the Steve base, the Ramah says, it's right after the Yud Dalet of the Shach. V'hadam rinan dem adog tofel v'oifes meluchin asurim hainu dafka shadag polat kvar domoy. Right? Only if the dog was already piled at lamb. V'hudach. Aval madayim loy polat domoy v'loy nimlach ma'olam mutter. Why? The agav the yiflag dam the day yiflag dam kein hadam shabalem and oifes. Kimoy Chaticha shenafel letzir koydem licha, a piece of meat that fell to tzir before it was salted itself. The mutter mahai timer, which is Baruch Haman. So before the Ramah argues on that, the Ramah says tafel could only be if it was salted and it was washed off. Then the piece of fish becomes also because resalting is not going to help anymore. But if it was never salted and it was belay adam and now you're going to salt it, it's mutter. That's what the Ramah holds first from Machlokes on this Mechaber. So,
Like we were talking about this, it's an odd thing that the Ramah is asking. Like we normally wouldn't salt fish, but he's saying in this case, to make the fish kosher, you actually have to salt it.
right,
So
correct.
But if you didn't resalt the fish, it would be treif.
Yeah, because that's not inside.
Yeah. So this is an interesting case where even though normally we don't do malicha on fish,
right.
it's actually a case where we're doing malicha on fish.
Do malicha, right. You have to.
If you're going to do it, don't worry. You're going to do it.
You have to salt it.
Why put the fish in the first place there?
If you resalt it.
In the first place, for the purpose of salting, but you forget. You know, you put it and forget. Now, oh my God.
But only after you've salted
So what's
it.
happening? He said, don't worry.
Same thing with the meat that falls into tzir. If meat that was never ever salted falls into tzir,
Yeah, but that's partially you have to salt it.
yeah.
Then you have to salt it, otherwise.
Well, you don't have, regular ordinary meats you could eat raw. This meat you couldn't eat raw.
Right, it's true.
That's like the sort of the nafkamina between
Yeah.
a piece of raw meat that falls
Correct.
into tzir
Yeah, you can't
and a
eat
piece of
raw.
raw meat.
Correct.
So
And the chlamid.
they're both mutter, but there's a difference in the mutter of it.
The mutter is only after you salt it. Correct.
Yeah, it's only mutter here.
It says it. Mutter the agav the yifal down the day yifal gam can down shbulem like
Sausage
this.
eat the way it is.
Yeah.
Doesn't cook the way it is.
Right. It's a mutter after you salt it. He says a mutter the agav the yifal down the day yifal gam can down shbulem like this. Means when you salt it.
Yeah.
Means when you salt it.
Well, he's saying that agav, he's saying mutter,
Yeah.
he doesn't stop there. He says,
Yeah.
because when you salt it,
Yeah.
it, without using those words,
Yeah.
it's going to come out again.
Yeah.
The agav, he played down the day, he played down the
Yeah.
Right.
If you look in the Shach Yudal, it's a good Shach to know. The Hadam Rinan. Shach Yudal. This is what we just saw. So the Ramah he argues on the dik we had in the Mechaber, right? The Mechaber said before, the Shach we saw Sif Kat Vav is a dike from the Mechaber, dog tafel no matter what. even if it was never salted, it's going to stay asa. So the Ramah here is arguing. Why doesn't the Ramah say Yesh Omrim? If he's arguing the Mechaber, he should say he's arguing. He doesn't say he's arguing. V'hadam rinan the dag tofav it's meluchem asuyim is only in this case. What do you mean? Mechaber argues in that. So the Shachar Sivkon Yadal says, "Avdam Mavayke that's Atmoi. Avdam Mechaber Einer Kain, K'mon Shechsafti V'Sivkon Vav Ayin Sham." But like Kosav Avdam came B'Lashon V'Yesh Omrim. Why didn't the Ramah say B'Lashon V'Yesh Omrim? Kivin she'ein b'divrei Mechaber Hechrach. V'chein Darkei V'Kamer V'Chaymes. The Ramah only says Yesh Omrim if it's mefurish in the Mechaber that it holds differently. It's not mefurish in the Mechaber. When we die, the Mechaber says Dark Tafel is mashma no matter what type of Tafel. But it doesn't say mefurish. Anytime the Mechaber doesn't say mefurish, and the Ramah argues, he doesn't say Yesh Omrim. Because it could be he could fit his pshat into the Mechaber also. It's a cloud we should know in the Ramah. But here the Ramah argues on the deep of the Mechaber, and the Taz, the Sivkot Ches, brings down 4 different reasons why the Mechaber is right. And that's why we're going to paskin like the Mechaber. If you look in the Shach Sivkot Ches, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but if you look in he brings the Zech Chaylich al Beiseis Shchasam Shchasam Torah Dogma Sumer Shnei Meluchim, brings the Ramah B'Tzarech Ian, he says L'Chayri Yesh Mechalik. See that?
Where is it? Which one?
In the old Shulchan Aruch, that's the first word in the line, B'Tzarech Ian, like 8 lines down from the white lines. B'Tzarech Ian. I'm not sure it's in the new Shulchan Aruch.
It's 1, 2, 3.
It's probably like a quarter of the way.
5 lines down in the wide lines of Ches.
See it? B'Tzarech Ian, L'Chayri Yesh Mechalik.
Yeah.
So he's going to explain, he's going to give a bunch of reasons why, when you have 2 pieces of meat, and a dam from one piece of meat goes into the second piece of meat that wasn't salted yet, so we salted afterwards, it brings out the dam. By fish, not the way. So the Shani Haksha Dogim Shem Heter Aleim, Ve'ech Natiram K'shekablu Isser Dam. Interesting svara. A piece of meat that has dam in it, says the Taz, it's called osir. Even though you're allowed to eat it raw, but it's called osir because you can't cook it. So now when it gets dam from a different piece of meat, it's still osir. So you can salt it and you can make it mutter. A piece of fish is mutter now. It gets the dam, you can mutter to cook it, it's mutter whatever you want with it. It gets dam from a piece of meat, now it becomes osir. So how you matter isser? Interesting Taz. I don't know what he means with that. The Shani Hacha Dogim Shem Heter Aleim Ve'ech Natiram K'shekablu Isser Dam. How can you be matter it once it gets Isser Dam in it? We know whenever you get Isser in something, Ein Hagala Boichlin. So he says it's like Hagala Boichlin. Okay, interesting Taz. You have to try on that. There's a bunch of spot why it's different because it's dam, the dam comes out. Okay. We got money for that pasuk the Isser the dam dogim eine el tzir be'alma. Another reason, because dam dogim is only tzir, but the shaykh leimer agav the pala dam diday. You can't say that by dogim. At Chalashanafin is at the Gamke Kedivra Seven, the Kivi that Sisha with Dogim with Dover Muit. It's very little. For Liflat Oiseb is man Kotzer, Hech Nismach a Plata Sir Shalahem, Loimar Shagav Shapalat Sir Yafal the Dam Shabala. The Shema Yichlas man Plata Sir Kaitan Plata Saddam. Another reason the Taz says why fish is different. And then if you skip a little bit, he says V'oid Yesh Kan Tam L'Isser. You see that?
It's the second widest line.
It's like after a star. Why there's can't have an issue? So it costs a Russian pay called Basa Pesh's Bam. The Basa Lo Yichichu Yesim Midai. When you salted 2 pieces of meat, we didn't want to make Shriach do more than we have to. So we said salt a bunch of pieces of meat together. Otherwise, you have to salt each piece of meat separately. It's a big tircha. So they gave you a heter. And they relied on all these coolers, and Mishuk Sharek, Aditoid, Michel, whatever it is. Kira Dami de Rabaranu, Akena Kilusham, Vazela Shaykhan, the Lab Takonis Chachomim, Yimloich dogim abasa. You won't have to add fish to salting the meat. You have to salt the fish. You want to salt fish? Okay, so be careful. Don't do it together with meat. But by meat, we have to salt it, so there was samich on all these kulas. So we fish that weren't samich. So the Taz gives a bunch of reasons why. And therefore, the Taz comes out to be machmir like the mechaber. Because of these reasons. Okay, let's go back. Noch einmal, see base. We just spoke out. The dark tafel means, according to the mechaber, tafel means it's even if it was salted once. Even if it was never salted, it's still awesome. Aval dag maliach v'oif tafel v'lachim zeh etzazeh v'zeh agav zeh af dagim v'tarim b'loi klipa. Dag is mutter without a klipa. Now,
so this whole discussion of the shach and the taz goes on which part of the mechaber?
The mechaber says
the first part.
Yeah, v'oif maliach v'dag tafel. What does it mean dag tafel? It's awesome. According to the Ramah, if the dag was tafel now and it was never salted, it's a mutter. When you salt it afterwards, it becomes mutter. So this says the dag tafel. The shach speaks out right away. That's only the mechaber shetasoi that all dag tafel is awesome. Aval dag maliach v'oif tafel v'nasam zeh etzalzeh v'zeh agav zeh af dagim v'tarim b'lei klipa. Even dog are mutter b'loi klipa. Says the Shach, a few halachas now, the Ramah, a few halachas. If the fish are on top of the oifis, mutarim afilu nimlechu yachad. Right, this we had before. The Shach. If the oifis are on bottom and the dogim are on top, says the Ramah, mutarim afilu nimlechu yachad. The dam enim v'afeim amatul amayla. Doesn't go upwards. For the Gora Mechaticha Monachas Betzir, the Marshal Amayla Menatzir Shari. So now, once the Ramah compares it to Tzir, says the Shach, and Sif Kotin Yud, Miu Klipa Boya. You have to have Klipa. You have to have a Klipa. Because why? Says the Shach, it goes up to the Klipa. Over here, the Minchas Yaakov argues, and he says no. Over there you need a klipa is why? Is because it goes. We don't know exactly where it went. How much you have to cut off? But anyway, two chatichas by oifis and dogger on top of the oifis, even if the klipa you will not need. So that's machlokes the shach and the Minchas Yaakov. And the next halacha v'chenim lo yiniach dogim ela ha'oifis. Eitzel ha'oifis ela la'achar sheshohu oifis b'milchat shir malicha. If you only put the fish next to the chicken after the chicken already waited to shear off Kedei Melicha, after dog mutarim. Dog is mutar, what are you worried about? There's no dam coming out anymore. After Shneihem Meluchim, even though both of them are Meluach. So here comes in the problem. What happened to Chumrah of Ma'aseh Rashi? Says the Shach Sif Kohen Aleph. Elachar show oifis shir melicha v'afakaf l'gamamas m'sadik avga b'atzav v'gvirim meluchim amrim da'af la'achar shir melicha chashu v'seach. So, okay, this is a different shayla. We say that a piece of meat, even after after shir melicha, is considered v'seach, considered hot. We say there's no shaychas to us. Shani hacha the ein is el mishum dam. V'lachar shir melicha polad kol damoy. All the dam came out. So we're not worried about the dam anymore. You're right, it's still called hot, but there's no dam anymore. Now, last of Rashi. So here also, we're still spitting out something after Shem Malicha. It should be considered dam, and it should be after the fish. Shani Hashem Sham Moil Be'en, Vabasa Munach B'toichoi. There's moil there, there's liquid, and the meat is sitting in it. Avol Mishum Lachluchas Ba'alma Shalabasar. For that itself, we're not noyig iser. We're only noyig iser when it's sitting in the mold. But if it's dripping from a piece of chicken onto the piece of meat, onto the piece of fish, then we're not going to be machmir. V'sagil adacha, the dogim ba'adacha. Okay, the next halacha in the Ramah. V'im nimluchu dogim b'kli shemalcha b'basar. If you salted fish in a kli, they salted meat, hadogim mitarim, why? Ein hadogim boilim adam shabakli, they melicha d'kelim. So you salted meat in a kli, you took it out, and then you put fish in that kli and salted it. It's mutter. Why? Ein melicha d'kelim. And here the Shach speaks out already. What do you mean? It's masha over here that if you did it already, it's mutter. We had before in Simon Samachtes that l'chatchila you go ahead and salt a piece of meat in a kli that you already salted another piece of meat. And we're lichel l'kelim. Over here it's mashma. If you salted it, but the evidence it's okay.
But this is fish, not meat.
So what's the difference?
It's soft and it belays quickly.
So and we're lichel l'kelim. There's no lichel l'kelim. So nothing comes out. It doesn't say over there because the meat hasn't.
But we said we had made a distinction between blood and issa.
This is for cooking, though.
Yeah, but blood issa is only that if something is salted, it doesn't go into it, or it goes in and goes out. Here we have to get the thing out of the kli. Everything is a din by issa also. If you have issa in the kli, you have trefis in the kli, and you salt something in the kli, also it's mutter. And melicha l'kelim. Melicha cannot pull anything out of a kli. The only thing we said the chobot in dam and shari sum is only the heter of mishrak sharik and agitar the miflet. Then we said the chobot in itzir and dam.
I posted back here as well. Okay.
The melicha l'kelim?
Yeah.
Doesn't have that? I don't think so. If you find it, I don't know. I'd like to see it. I don't think that melicha l'kelim.
Didn't we say about a kli menukav?
Yeah.
That it isn't even bolea any, that the actual metal of the kli isn't even bolea any down because of mishrak sharik.
Okay, it's true. Who's talking about kli menukav over here?
Well, he said after you've salted meat.
Yeah, maybe it's kushayim menukav. Maybe it's kushayim menukav. Could it be kushayim menukav?
The Shach speaks out it's different between salting for kedera versus salting for salting.
What do you mean?
Salting for food versus...
Salt for preservation.
Yeah, what Sahir now?
Yud Gimel.
But again, what? Oh, that's what you mean. Fine. You're on the terrace, yeah. So the Shach has a kasha that we know that you could put a piece of meat into a kli, even though it was used already. We're not chayshish, lechatchila. And here by piece of fish we say the evidence is good, not lechatchila. Why? So the Shach says the reason why there would be a problem is because you need hadacha. Why? Because if you salted something in the kli, there may be some newness in the kli of issa, of dam. Why is meat mutter to go do malicha a second time in the kli, even though maybe it wasn't cleaned correctly? Because the meat you automatically always do hadacha on the piece of meat. You always wash it off after you salt it. So even though the wash hamnun is there, you're going to wash off the piece of meat and you're going to get rid of the shamnunis. By a piece of fish, you don't have to do hadacha after you salt it. You can eat it salty if you want. So therefore, lechatchila you shouldn't do it. But the ever it's okay. But lechatchila you shouldn't do it because maybe it needs hadacha. But then the Shach says, we see that fish also, it's darker la diach. Fish also, usually you wash it off. So it makes a chil between two types of salting. If you salt it like a deira, you don't wash it off. If you salt it to keep it, then you wash it off because it's too salty. But that's what the Shach says. The Shach says fish may be different than meat because fish, you don't always wash it off. That's why here it says that if you put it in a kli, after you've salted the meat, it's mutter. But the chatchila you shouldn't do it. Why? Because they're talking about a case of fish that it's not dakar la'adiach. Therefore you shouldn't do it the chatchila.
Before we go on, can you just slide back to the last verse just 1 second? Where the Ramah said that when you placed fish next to the chicken, after the chicken was salted for shemalicha, that the fish is mutter.
Right.
Even though they're being salted together, right? So is that mutter legamri mutter, or is there klipa still?
No, mutter legamri. There's no dam anymore. There's nothing to answer.
Not even a klipa then.
Not even a
For
klipa.
sure, I mean, shishin we wouldn't need, but klipa.
Even a klipa won't answer, no. It's mutlaq gamri because there's no dam anymore. The only chumrah will be is the chumrah of the Ma'aser of Rashi, maybe it's called dam. And the Shach says, we're not worried about that. So it's mutlaq gamri. You don't need anything. After Shem Melicha, there's no Isra anymore, there's no dam anymore. By the end of the mall, which we saw already, we'll finish it off quickly here. Hada mina de madam. The dog, tafel va'ibus meluchim asurim hayin dafka shadog polad kvar damoy v'hudach av l'madayim le'polad damoy v'lanimlach ma'oila mutter de'agav t'yiflay dam d'deh yiflay gam ken adam shabaleim and oifis. This is the Ramoshi. K'mar chaticha shenafel l'tzir koidim v'licha de mutter ma'hay taimo k'mar shezbor l'kamasim l'zeh v'ayin l'kamasim l'zeh v'yal v'ezim melicha m'nid ha'v'gorseach. Which melicha has a din that is like roi seach? Not all melichas have a din with sicha. The Shach here Sif Kant Hazayin, and the Tal also before speaks out. Look in the Shach Sif Kant Hazayin. Halfway through it, Kosev is about the Orklai Gimel. Dogim Shamalchu Maifres, Ein Le'esem Shum Sakana. We know you're not allowed to eat fish and meat together. So you're salting fish and meat over here. How can you do that? So he says, Ein Sakana B'Melicha. Ad Cham L'Shayni. B'Melicha is not Sakana. Only Bishul, fish and meat are Sakana. So he says that but the game melicha is no din, no isser of, no sakana of fish and meat together, only cooked together.
If we had a case where the fish blood got into the chicken,
the fish
blood got into the chicken,
yeah,
and then you cooked it afterwards, would you have a problem?
A sakana.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be a sakana. I don't know. I wonder. Could be that'll be a sakana and a chalami. The fish goes into the chicken. He said it was never a problem. But the question is, yeah, but if you cook it afterwards,
you wash it
then
anyway.
You'll be a problem sakana and a chalami.
But this sakana is only by Yechiel, no?
No, but you're cooking the chicken with the sear of the fish in it.
Well, you wash the chicken anyway.
No, it went into the chicken. We said before, if you salt chicken and fish together, right? The chicken's mutter. Right? Because melicha is not a problem.
Right.
But that's very good if you eat the chicken raw. So it only came with the melicha, that's not a problem. But if you're going to go cook the chicken afterwards, so you have sear of fish in the chicken, then you're back to sakana. Yeah, good kasha. Then you're back to sakana. Okay.
As long as you have a glazel schnapps, then my friend said it's okay.
How do you have it in between?
So you have a billion and a half times before. Make sure it's
The whole glaze of schnapps, according to this, you don't even need it.
Yeah.
Because the only issue is bishul. Melicha is mutter. And Kol's going to eat it one after the next. She mutter.
They can't hurt.
Yeah, the really schnapps can't hurt, no. Okay. Siv Gimel. Wasser Schuta, Shamalchu and Basar Shrefa. You have a piece of meat that's kosher, Shamalchu and Basar Shrefa, which is salted together with Basar Shrefa. Or even if the shrefa was salted and the kosher was tafel. So what's happening here is the shrefa piece of meat is giving out a sear into the kosher piece of meat. And that goes in no matter what. Even if the kosher piece of meat is being salted, it doesn't make a difference. They're touching each other also. Even though it's not belay from the dam of the trefa, belas mitzira, it's belay from the sear of the trefa. Aval the makshera melucha, if the kshera is salted, by trefa tfeila, and the trefa is not salted, muteres ba'adacha beloy klipa. Why? Because the trefa piece of meat is not giving anything into the kosher piece of meat. Bein nasan kshera lamayla, bein nasan lamata, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference because the kosher piece of meat is salted, the trefa piece of meat is not salted, therefore it is always mutter. Mashiach, if the trefa piece of meat is salted, then it assers the kosher piece of meat. Even if the kosher piece of meat is salted, and it's giving out its dam, it doesn't make a difference. The tzir, issur could go in even while it's being salted.
Why is it with kosher treif meat?
Huh?
Why is it with salt treif meat?
Made a mistake. If you look at Sif Kar Yud Ches, The shach, therefore in shach, sha'al pi she'ena b'leim b'dam ha'treifo, kivu she'tar l'flei dam l'deim v'kamokim b'leim v'tzir hinoyach l'bola. The dafka gabi dam amrinon aidi the tar the mifid l'bola. Aval loy b'shar isurim. By shar isurim, it goes straight into the piece of meat. We don't say aidi tar the mifid l'bola. We don't say any of the other sports we had doesn't apply b'negeya din treifus. Tzir. Only b'negeya din dam.
Which was that? Which
So
this is kind of an important Yisrael for everything we've done till now.
Correct. Correct. This is an important Yisrael. The whole din, the whole Sif Aleph and Bey is only b'negei dam.
Right.
Anything else, Tam is Isser, Tzir Isser, goes in. Now the Rabbi here says a lashon.
So again, in the sheet of the Rishonim, it seems like it only from the sheet says it's only because one of the sheet is the Rabbi holds like this that the tzir is what's usher. The truth is a much more fundamental issue. The fundamental issue is that anything that is not anything that is isser is boileya. In other words, only dam is protected by these four reasons.
But that holds it. Some Rishonim argue on this. Some Rishonim hold that even it protects everything. We don't hold that way.
Oh, there are other Rishonim.
Yeah, we don't hold that way.
Okay.
We don't pass it that way.
I thought, again, a universal.
It's we look at it as universal because we don't pass like those Rishonim. Maybe it's one or two Rishonim say that way.
Okay, so that's why, because the Rabbi is the one who says that. Oh, it's the tzir is what comes through.
Right.
Otherwise, what's the difference between this piece of meat and the piece of meat that we had before?
Correct.
Multiple pieces.
Correct.
There'd be a difference.
Right. So he says it's a tzir that comes through. And that's the way.
Tzir, but it's not clear that it's more than that. So he says that's it's a special din by tzir.
Correct. Correct. And because other Rishonim are going to say even tzir won't go through. We don't hold that way. We don't pass in that way at all. We hold that tzir isser goes through, tam not.
Isser, and what other isurim would also go through?
Anything. And it's not treifus. If you have any other isser, tam. Any tam goes through.
Goes through.
Yeah.
So this whole protection is only
Tzir goes through, tam does not go through.
Tam goes through.
Tam is
Even tam. Tzir and tam basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Tzir and tam basically the same thing. When you learn to a tam kaker, the question is what's going from one piece of meat to the next. You have a dam. You have the treifus and a kosher piece of meat. What's going from the treif piece of meat to the kosher piece of meat?
Two.
So even if it's not salted, it asses. Right? Even if it's not salted, but it's hot, it asses. Here the chiddush is, it's not hot, it's only salted, it's still considered like hot and it asses. Right?
So everything we've said about Adi B'Torah and so on, that's just by dam.
That's by dam. And that's where that's where we go. It's only by dam, not by isser. That's the shach over here. We're going to have it later on by Kavod. Also we'll have it to Svaras. Now the Muhammad has a lashon over here that they're touching each other also. It's not dafka touching each other, shachs b'shad already. Even if they're not touching each other. Because the sear is dripping down and it's called cham because it's salted and it goes into the piece of meat. And that's what the Ramah speaks out at the end of the Ramah, the end of the Sif. We'll see in a second. So this shita holds that if the kosher piece of meat is not salted, if the kosher piece of meat is salted and the treif piece of meat is not salted, everything is mutter. It's mutter because the treif piece of meat doesn't give its isser into the kosher piece of meat. V'yesh misha says the Mechaber b'noigim zeh b'zeh v'soivish lehutru ela b'oimdim v'samach b'chtesha pleito shazeh nagas b'zeh. Says the Mechaber, some people say that the piece of meat are touching each other. So what happens is the isser piece, the head piece of meat that's salty and it's considered roseach is mechameim the piece of meat that's treifa, and it makes it warm enough to give out its platus into the head piece of meat. If they're not touching each other, so it can't be mechameim it. If they're touching each other, this shita holds it asks because the head piece of meat will make the isser piece of meat give its blias into it. If you look in the Taz, it speaks it out. Who are ran, hooks like the gam b'tohar, meliach v'tamei tafei yishlem shebesichas hatahar meliach. It's a mistake over here to say mechameim hatamei. It warms up the tamei ad sheyaflit v'yavliya b'tohar. Till it's mechameim enough that it gives out its blias into the tahar. ואילו לסביר להתיר שכספתי ריש סיפי ושמרז שאין מחמם כל כך. Melicha can't be mecham kol kach that it give out its platus into the heter, and that's the machlokes the mechaber, the two shittas in the mechaber. The first shitta holds that it can't be mechamim enough to give out its platus into the heter, and the second Yesh Mish Oisid holds it could be mechamim enough that it gives out its platus into the heter. And the Rambam says over here, Kshatreifa meluach the kosher tafel. If the treifa is meluach and the kosher is tafel, but the treifa is the salty one, afilu b'chai gavli aser, b'chai gavli means even though it's not noigois zeh b'zeh, even though it's not touching in asers, and that is what the Shach spoke out on the mechaber. The mechaber says v'heim noigois zeh b'zeh aser. It's not dafka noigois zeh b'zeh. Even if it's not touching each other in asers, because if the treifa is salty, it drops its sear onto the heter and asers.
We're going to wash it, salt it and wash it.
Huh?
We're going to salt it and wash after.
Yeah, it's too late. Once it absorbed into it, it's also ready.
So it's
It's not
completely,
gonna help.
not just a klipa.
Yeah, but it was never salted in the first.
I didn't say that. Why are you saying it's completely else, not just a klipa?
No, I'm asking.
But it depends. It depends. If you hold that we're not mechal to kachas and shamein, then it's initiation. If you hold there's a chil to kachas and shamein, then it depends. If it's kachas.
This is the Rama speaking, so he doesn't hold by kachas and sham, right? So he would.
Right. And the Rama is not mechal to kachas and shamein, so he would hold also until.
So it wouldn't be klipa would be.
Oh, so if you look at the mechaber is a bottle schut to shamolch and bottle sheifa menucha b'ksher tefel v'heim noigim zeh b'zeh aser k'dei chlipa. The mechaber says. The mechaber is mechalik. Avad over here, if we be the Rama, we hold in Yechishim. Then am I speak it out? No one speaks there, but it's never pashut. This mechaber, this is Tasai. And only Asher K'dei Chlipa. The Rama, who holds the Wanam Mechal to Chachas and Shaman, even by Melicha, he would hold in Yechishim over here. Yeah.
Just one more thing from the past mechaber, when we said that the doesn't matter when the mechaber says it doesn't matter whether it's on top or it's on the bottom.
Right.
So basically, that's like a proof that Tatay Gaber is not applicable here on Melicha, right?
Why? Even if it is applicable, it's only Asher K'dei Chlipa. When did Tatay Gaber and what?
No, because he says it doesn't matter whether the kosher piece is on the top or the bottom. The mechaber said.
Oh yeah. It doesn't make a difference because that Torah Gover over here won't apply in the game Melicha. Correct. That is correct.
What's that deal? You're saying that the
Yeah,
Torah doesn't apply.
Doesn't apply.
Melicha?
This proves that this mechaber proves that the Torah Gover doesn't apply by Melicha.
Only what? Only Bishul?
Only Bishul.
Chamimus. We'll see in a second because the mechaber in Sivit Dallas does apply.
Yeah.
That Torah Gover doesn't apply in Melicha?
Sure it does.
So the answer is Chash on the mechaber. 1 second. Give me 1 second, please.
With regards to the actual Melicha status, the bottom is salted, the top isn't salted. Do you say that the top is not the top is salted?
You say it's mischamer. If you say it's a fake, I mean,
That's not the Melicha.
true. What else is
It's cold, and that you need something to make it happen. The Lipa smear of the right? You take two pieces. You take 2 pieces of meat, put them on one piece of the other. There's no issue. Only when you either cook it, right? Only when something happens.
So this is bench and nothing show not to bench nothing.
Yeah, we'll see Sivit Dallas. Yeah, 100%. What you're saying here is a good dig. It's a very good dig. And we'll see in Sivit Dallas that over here we don't say that Torah Gover benegate the Melicha. Right. We'll see in Sivit Dallas. It's very negative Sivit Dallas. I don't know why I didn't happens in the Sif. Beinas and Ksher L'mayla, Beinas and L'mata. If the Ksher is L'mayla, and the Ksher is L'mata, and it's Meliach, it's the Torah Govar. Now the top one should become hot also. The treif should become hot, and should give out its Isser into the bottom one. Right?
We don't say that.
We don't say that. Obviously not, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, the Mechaber is not saying. Does anybody, maybe someone else says it?
What are you saying? There's no Tatoi Gavar din by Melicha?
Yeah, no Tatoi Gavar. We'll see in the next Sif. There's no Tatoi Gavar. If one of them is Tafel, then Melicha won't make the Tatoi Gavar. The top one is Tafel. The Melicha won't say that the bottom one is Meluach and the top one is not Meluach. The top one gets a din like it's Meluach because of the Tatoi Gavar. As I said,
that's what we don't say about Melicha.
You don't say that.
Because if we did, then we would say in that situation.
We should say here, right, the bottom one, at least they Lipa. And here it says, the Mutaris Ba'dacha B'lei Klipa Beinas and Ksher L'mayla Beinas and L'mata. We'll see in the next Sif, there's another raya in the next Sif, but it's the Chesed first here also. That you don't say that Torah Govar B'negei Dine Melicha. That means if one's Meluach and one's not Meluach, you don't say that the top one gets a din like it's Meluach because the bottom one is Meluach. Very good.
Other things you do say that, like hot, of course.
Hot and cold. And Shamnunut, we'll see. That's the next Sif. We'll get to the next Sif in a second. We'll see that if they're both salted and one's shaman and one's not shaman, I can say the Torah Govar makes the top one shaman. But it's only when they're both salted. We'll see. We'll get to Sif Dal in a second.
So if that's the case, then maybe the Ramah would hold, if everything is shaman, right? Then maybe it would hold that to Taina.
No, if everything is shaman, no, because the top one's not Nimlach. If the top one is not Nimlach, we can't get it to become hot. Tatoi Govar will not make the top one hot.
Even if it's shaman, you're saying?
Yeah, but what's the difference to shaman? It's not hot. We'll see it, Sif Daled.
Correct.
See, this is the Yisrael. It's very important to know that if you have the bottom one is salted, the top one is not salted, then you cannot. The Torah Govar will never make the top one as if it's salted.
No,
you can't do that.
The Havamina was that it would at least, because it's Chamim, it would drive at least could they Klipa.
Yeah, but why could they Klipa? Because it makes like the top one is salted. Forget about Shaman and Kochash. In order for it to give out anything into the bottom one, it has to become the top one is become salted. Top one doesn't get din salted, right? So nothing will go into the bottom one. In order, even if they klipa, you have to make the top one as if it's salted.
So we say Meliach Karutzach, it's like Rutzach, but it's not physically.
Correct. Meliach Karutzach is not mamash like Rutzach. That means if the bottom one is Meliach Karutzach, but we'll not say the top one becomes Rutzach also because of the bottom one. It's a very good deal here. I've written down in my Rabbi Shulchan Aruch, I didn't look at it before I said the shit. I know, we said it. I know, we said it last time. Yeah, we said it last time. Yeah, we said it last time also. I know I didn't say half an hour learning it. But I'm happy you chopped it. Yeah, so the Mechaber brings out two sheets over here. V'yesh mishu oiseh, v'nagim zeh b'zeh. And there's someone who asks because it is mechamer enough to give out its plata. If you look at the shach, see if caught your test. It's an important shach to see. Klal. To say that elabad v'samach v'nir the other full adach le'tzarach kirish ein noigim zeh b'zeh. V'im ken a mechamer shekasel l'kaman SEMICHA feisiv yud. If a heter meluach ve'isa tafel ein tzarach el hadacha, all you need is hadacha akarchach mayri b'noigim. It's talking about touching. The Mechaber later on is so like the first svara, that you don't need anything, even though it's noigim zeh b'zeh, it's mutar l'gam only adacha. V'chem etzim etzadi aleph, sasam keim v'chem etzifra, b'tzesef mashmal hedif sa svara rishoyin ikr ve'einav. The Mechaber passing is like the first svara. Usually the halacha is stam v'yesh oimrim in the mechaber. You pass it like the v'yesh oimrim.
No, stand.
In the mechaber?
Sorry. Two stammers you pass like the second stam. V'yesh oimrim or v'yesh oisrim will pass like the first one, like the stam. Is that the klal? Yeah.
If there's two stamim, then the second stam.
Stam v'yesharim in the loftik stam.
So here he says, to show that we don't pass like it. He didn't say it's two stams. There were two stams in the mechaber. He passed like the second stam. Stam v'yesh oimrim or v'yesh oisrim will pass like the stam. Says the Shach. That's what the mechaber speaks out of v'yesh misha oisrim, because he doesn't pass in that way. Okay. Let's see Steve Dallas. We have time still, or?
Yeah, we have 10 minutes.
Let's take more 10 minutes. Okay, but we'll figure it out. Let's see. We have to see Dallas. I can't leave it. After Adik and the Chabar, I can't leave it. Hodar Mina, the Eine Oiser Ele Kedei Klipa. This that we say only asks Kedei Klipa, which is the Mechaber L'Shutasa, right? We said before in the Mechaber that Kedei Klipa is because now it's a double kokosh. The Ramah would hold anyway, it's aser always. Right? Now if you look in we'll skip a little bit, look in the parentheses in the Ramah at the end of the Sif. Look at Kufay how we're noying. If you look in the Shachek of Gimel, the Af Shomein. Ein chilik ben amulich elyon ataktem gam esparsham the ein anu bekia me kochas l'shamein u'meshayim kom mulich b'samach. So this whole speech over here is not a gay according to the Ramah, because the Ramah holds anyway that we always aser shishin. So the Mechaber said before kedei klipa, it's the Mechaber l'shatasa, it's kochas, and I was explaining how the meaning of the ein oitze ele kedei klipa, hanuk is shtehem kchushos. They're both kochas. Therefore, you only ask a Gedei Klipa. Avalam achas mehem shmeina. If one of them is fatty, so now, if the Isser is fatty, it's very partial. Isser is salty and it's fatty, so it goes into the heter. Nishish in the vatlai. Here's saying afila mechaticha at shreifa kchusha. Even if the fatty one, even if the treifa is kachosh, v'chaticha ksheira shmeina. And the kosher one is shmeina, v'fafeya ha'isser b'kula. What do we say? Heter mefatem le'isser. The heter is mefatem to the isser, and now the isser also gets a din like it's shamein. Says the Mechaber im ha'isa ha'treifa ha'melucha lamata mishom v'tatoy gavar. So what does this mean over here? The treifa melucha was the matam mishum the gova.
Even if the melucha was up and the kusha was down, the treifa was down, it will go down and then it will go up.
So let's see. Let's look in the shach over here. It's very tricky how we learn this mechaber. If hoisa treifa melucha lamata, lafuke im hoisa hakshera hatfela lamata. If the kshera, which is tafel, is lamata, aber bishat treifa shmeina l'mayla eine oise ele kedei klipa the toysher eine meluach goybe u'mitzana me'elyon. Says the Shach, he's explaining im hoisa had treifa ha'melucha lamata. To treifa melucha was lamata mishum the toy gavar, so then it could go into the one that's on top. What's the top one?
Kosher, it's kochosh.
Is it meluach or not meluach?
Must be tough.
It's tougher. Why? Im hois hat shreifa melucha lamata. Shnatoy govar. Says the Shach, lafuke im hois hat ksheira hat feila lamata. Alvish hat shreifa shmeina lamayla. Eine ois elek de kliba natoy govar. What is it very partial the case the Shach? A much simpler case. If the treifa chusha melucha is l'mayla, let's say, if you look at the Dagam above, he says, "V'chatichat haksheira shmeina, hainu shegam haksheira melucha." See the Dagam above? V'chatichat haksheira shmeina, hainu shegam haksheira melucha. The ksheira has to also be melucha. It could be it's kachush, but it has to be that it's also melucha. Why? Why does the ksheira have to be melucha also? Because if the ksheira is not melucha and it's kachush, then nothing happens. It can't be mefatim b'isser because it can never become hot. Right? It has to be salted already.
Okay.
The only question here is could the heter be mefatim to the isser? Right? The heter is shomein and the isser is kachush. So the only question here is could the heter be mefatim the isser?
Right.
So we say heter is mefatim the isser.
Right. So once it's salted,
Only if it's salted already. If it's not salted, it can't be mefatim it. So when the Mechaber says, "Treifa melucha," the matters from the Torah Gavar, says the Dagam Avava, "Hainu kisha treifa hi ba'atma shmeina." When the treifa itself is shmeina, then it has to be on the bottom. If I say treifa melucha lamata, what does that mean? The treifa melucha, which was shamein, is lamata. Because if the treifa would have been on top, even though it's shamein, it wouldn't go into the whole piece on bottom, because the platoi govar and stop the shmeinis on the top one coming in. That's what the Shach says.
So the Taigover works out the shmeinis.
Right.
The process happens.
Correct.
Not
Not going to get the melicha. The Shach says, "Lafuki moisa ksheira hatfela lamata, afa pisha treifa shmeina lamayla." That's what the Shach says. Even though treifa shmeina is lamayla, ain't also like the klipa. Why does it say a very simple thing? What it means over here is, the moisa treifa melucha lamata, and the ksheira on top was Einim Meluach. Right? The ksheira on top was Einim Meluach, the treifa was Meluach on the bottom, Atari Govar. Maybe that's what the Mechaber means. The Shach doesn't say that. The Shach says, what's the Mechaber coming to Mefkiya? Lafuki Moisa Ksheira Atfeila Lamata, Alpha Pisha Treifa Shmeina Lamayla. Why is it going to the Mechaber means the treifa is Shmeina and it's in the bottom. Lafuki the treifa is Shmeina and it's on top. Maybe the Mechaber means the Moisa Treifa Melucha Lamata and the top one was Eine Meluach at all. He doesn't say that, the Shach. Why not? Because the top was any meluach at all, then there's no isser at all. Everything is mutter. Keep that in mind. Look at the Shach again, and you'll see that in a case where the top one is not meluach at all, we're not talking about b'chlal. There's no isser. Because heter b'fatim list, because the Torah Gova will not work with Negeya, a meluach on the bottom, any meluach on top. That's the case, everything is mutter. All the Mechaber comes from Mefkiya over here is that if the Shomein is on top and the Kochos is on bottom, then it doesn't ask for Kuloi. Think about it. Yeah. Is that clear? Not really. Okay, look at the Shach again. We have to remember is that the Shach speaks out that we're talking about that Lafuke, the Moisak Ksheira Hatfeila Lamata, Apa Picha Treifa Shmeina Lamayla. The Treifa Shmeina is on top. Right? And the Treifa is the Shmeina we're talking about over here. When you read the Mechaber, it might have Shrefa Melucha Lamata, maybe it means, and the Ksheira Ein Meluach is on top. Why doesn't the Shach say, very simple, it's talking about Dafna where the Shrefa Meluach was on the bottom, and the Ksheira Ein Meluach was on top. But if it's the opposite, it won't work. Why doesn't it deal with the Ein Meluach? It doesn't deal with that. You see from the Shach that Ein Meluach, we're not talking about over here. They both have to be Meluach. All the Mechaber's come to Mafkia is, if the Shreifa Shmeina was on top, it won't go into the bottom more than a Kedei Lipa. Think about that. Last time also we had a little hard time with this.